In the past few months, I've gone from someone who had never seen a single episode of Dexter to a massive fan of the series. And perhaps the thing that has shocked me the most was how active and strong the fanbase was, even as we rapidly approach being 2 decades removed from the first episode of Dexter airing on live television. While the fanbase has plenty of interesting theories and seem divided on quite a lot within the Dexter-verse, perhaps one of the most interesting facets of the show to analyze, which largely kept me coming back for more, is the morality of Dexter, our lovable serial-killing lead character. For the most part, I've seen people argue one of 2 things in their assessment of Dexter's morality. Typically, you have some people who are Machiavellian in their mindset, very ends justify the means type of individuals. Essentially the people who argue that it's just a simple math equation at the end of the day. Simply put, Dexter has saved more innocent lives by killing these criminals than the amount of innocent lives that have been killed because of Dexter's actions. And as long as this equation is balanced in this way, they'll back Dexter in his serial killing ways, because in their minds it does more good than harm. The flip side of the math equation perspective is a large group of people who think murder in almost any circumstance is wrong. Especially when you deliberately seek out the opportunity to be able to kill people. If human life is indeed sacred, then putting any innocent lives at risk just so you can fulfill a dark urge within yourself is not only selfish, but morally wrong. Now, much like almost every interesting moral debate, I think both sides have some merit to them, and I want to really analyze both ends of the discussion, so that I can explain in some detail which side I ultimately find myself aligning more with morally. As for the math equation argument, it's rather straightforward. As a serial killer himself, Dexter knows that these other killers are going to strike again. And by putting them on his table, Dexter ensures that they won't have the opportunity to. So yes, for almost every life he takes, you could argue that he saved at least a few innocent people. By this point, Dexter has killed well over 100 people, so I think it's safe to say that if you follow this logic, he's probably saved like 300 to 400 innocent lives roughly. I think that's a pretty fair estimate. And when you look at the innocent lives that have been lost because of Dexter's dark avenging, such as Deb, Dokes, Rita, LaGuerta, and Logan, it really is only a handful of people. Therefore, if you are indeed a true Machiavellian at heart, you would probably kill 4 to 5 people to save 400 any day of the week. However, where I think the math argument falters is the fact that Dexter could have stopped these criminals without taking their lives. He very easily could have slipped the evidence he had on all of these killers to his sister under the table. This would have resulted in each and every one of them being caught by law enforcement, thus also saving a boatload of innocent lives and avoiding any innocent collateral damage, since in this scenario Dexter wouldn't be a serial killer, just someone slightly bending the law to arrest bad people. But the reason Dexter doesn't go this route is because he enjoys killing people. And that's the key point that makes him an anti-hero, and his actions morally wrong in my opinion. Also, in the case of Dokes, Deb, LaGuerta, and Logan, we also have to factor in the lives that they would have went on to save. Being detectives and law enforcement officers, these 3 would have gone on to work many more cases and saved many more lives by arresting other killers. So Dexter being at least partially responsible for all of them dying has to factor into this math equation as well. You see, I personally believe that morally incorrect actions can at times create positive outcomes. For example, Dexter pursuing and ultimately killing the Trinity Killer was a net positive for society. He stopped him from committing any future killings, thus saving plenty of innocent lives. However, in pursuing Arthur Mitchell and constantly prolonging when he took his life because he wanted to learn from him, Dexter allowed Arthur to kill his wife Rita. And while yes, that's only one innocent life lost, the reason it was lost is what I think is immensely important here. Dexter likes being a serial killer. If not for Harry's code, he very easily could have ended up like Brian, just killing people all willy-nilly. So it isn't just a matter of Dexter wanting to be a dark avenger and save people because of some hero complex. Deep down, he just wants to kill people and is giving into temptation. And this is why his actions are morally ambiguous at best. I understand that he's a fun and enjoyable character, so it's very easy to root for him. To an extent, I still root for him even in spite of knowing that he isn't a heroic character. But at the end of the day, he is a man who kills to fulfill a dark desire within him. His adopted father, rather than getting him proper psychological counseling and therapy, gave him a rule set to try and direct this monstrous desire in the right direction. But that doesn't change the nature of Dexter's immoral desires to kill people and chop up their bodies afterwards. Another scene that I think speaks to this moral ambiguity within Dexter is when he and Harrison were preparing to kill Kurt Caldwell towards the end of New Blood. As Dexter was explaining his methods to his son, Harrison immediately thinks of all the lives that Dexter has saved. But Harrison soon comes to find out which rule is really most important to Dexter. Don't get caught. If it means killing someone innocent like Logan, then Dexter has no problem doing it in order to free himself. Dexter isn't a hero, he isn't a morally righteous vigilante, he is someone who likes killing people, and if he were to get caught, it would mean that he couldn't keep killing, which is why it's rule number 1. At the end of the day, Dexter is not fully and wholly evil, but he is far from a hero or morally righteous. His actions are that of an extremely morally ambiguous anti-hero. But if I had to choose one side of this debate to fall on, I would have to side against the math equation argument. I think it is far too simplistic of a way of viewing Dexter's actions. And even as far as the pure math of everything goes, it even ignores very important unquantifiable statistics, such as how many lives Dokes, Deb, LaGuerta, and Logan could have gone on to save. Well, if you made it this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the morality of Dexter's vigilante work. Do you subscribe to the Machiavellian, the ends justify the means side of things? Or are you like me and think things are a little more complex than that? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to check out some of my other Dexter-themed content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.